Welcome to watch the AEC Engineering and Construction Management Solution Process Steps from Project Engineering, Planning and Execution added with integrated Microsoft Dynamics AX Standard ERP modules. You will be introduced specific industry business processes that the solution can handle. The solution interactively accesses web and client-server interfaces. The client employs a contractor to execute the project. Processes explained in this demo assume that the solution is working on a computer machine owned by the contractor company. The employees of the contractor company are contractually responsible to performing several business functions in building the project. It is assumed that highly experienced professionals with knowledge of the construction practices administer the system. Let us assume that a project should be built by a client. The project contains 4 units. One of such units is about 3,000 square feet residential building. In the first step we create a project in the solution under Corporate module. The solution enables multi-project and multi-user environment. Therefore project-wise access controls are administered after identifying suitable team members. Every project contract should contain a bill of quantities. This is referred as client BOQ or contract BOQ. BOQ enables the parties to the contract to perform respective obligations. Contractor delivers the quantities specified in the BOQ while the client pays at the rates specified in BOQ. Let us import the BOQ into the system solution. Performed quantities shall be paid by the client to a contractor based on physical progress on the structure. Such structures are termed as components in the solution system. For every individual structure we need to create a component to model. Models can be generated using several CAD applications such as Bentley Structures, Autodesk Design Suite, Techless Structures, Revit Architecture, AEC Apps and so on. These models can be integrated to AEC ERP using data exchangeable format or Excel. To cater for several industry needs, AEC fills gaps from automating model generation, precise budgeting, visual scheduling, periodical planning and execution while assigning enterprise resources effectively. Let us see one such BIM automation process followed by steps up to client invoicing. We may have few 100,000 such tasks or parts to assemble into a building structure, and many of them are shown in several 2D drawings needing interpretation on every related business function. Most of them are generally shown in separate drawings that run into dozens. All those drawings need to be manually clubbed into a single drawing with multiple layers. Every drawing object needs to be converted to simple line and polyline objects. The combined drawing with several layers can be seen here with LayWalk. The final drawing needs to be saved in DXF format. Now we instruct the AEC ERP to manage this component. System launches AEC BIM application automatically prompting for input DXF file. The DXF file can then be read by AEC BIM to generate component model. System requirement layers need to be mapped to drawing layers. System suggested scale may be modified if required. Set required number of floors and other elevation defaults. The BIM is generated. Navigate to different elements to check correctness of the model. Reference lines are automatically created and every object is now referenceable. Quantity reports are generated with geometrical dimensions to each element. The model can be saved back to DXF format to open in AutoCAD. BIM is a 3D model that may contain few hundred thousand building elements. Imagine how many engineer hours are required to estimate the quantities. Is it not mind-boggling? These elements need to be integrated to manageable objects contractually and shown in project plans. This process also enables cost estimation, scheduling, planning, execution and billing. To achieve these objectives, the BIM needs to be mapped. In other words, each physical model object in the BIM should be related to a contractual billable BOQ item. In our next step, we publish the mapped BIM BOQ as project work breakdown structure. Project team would prefer to use the term SUBtask than WBS item. This is the most important step to create a link between contract BOQ and contract drawings. During this process there may trigger several contractual issues to be resolved separately outside the system. To execute every BOQ item we need to have a project budget in place apart from project schedule. In this step we calculate budget for each task or BOQ item. Select a task from tree view, assign resources like material, machinery, manpower and contract. We can use several automating tools to build cost. We can attach assignments from similar tasks within the project or from other projects or from master library. We need to apply latest market prices to each of the resources. For machinery and manpower resources, assigning production capabilities is important to determine durations of project tasks. We may also require to estimate indirect administrative costs and profit margins. A final cost summary can be seen in the report resulting from project budget. The project needs to be scheduled to determine sequence of construction. The determined sequence gives us cash flow requirements of the project. We use MS Project application to sequence tasks using export and import commands. This becomes a master schedule for the project. Let us plan the project to realize the master schedule. We need to select a plan date as scheduled in earlier step. Apply the budget so prepared for selected subtask. Perform any changes in the budget while saving as production coefficients. Apply this production to selected or all subtasks as second step. In the third step we need to see if the resources are available to perform the subtasks. If resources are available we need to assign resources to perform the selected subtasks. If resources are not available already, then we go to the next step of procurement. Resources need to be requisitioned if falling short to perform subtasks. Therefore let us select a period of project plan and send requisition to the central pool of procurement. Assume that there could be several requisitions coming from different projects at a time. Some resources may be already idling in some other work site. The central procurement management should exercise controls of buying or hiring or diverting resources. For materials we procure through a purchase order, whereas for machinery resources we could optionally purchase them through purchase order for long-term deployment. If project is unviable to absorb investments we may hire them through a work order. For subcontract resources we need to process only through work orders. For manpower resources we may have labor recruited through HR module. Scheduled projects purchase requisitions are dynamically pushed to Microsoft Dynamics. The Integrated Supply Chain Management module of Dynamics further performs procurement business functions. Dynamics handles project finance and accounting and HRM functions from recruitment to terminal benefits. Further, inventory and asset procurement are managed apart from warehouse management to meet project requirements. Microsoft Dynamics also manages stocks conversions, transfers and vendor billing. IEC manages construction plant and machinery assets, hiring, maintenance and repairs. IEC systems also manage project design, engineering, estimation, budgets, planning and execution processes. Let us resume the control back to project plans. Our main objective is to execute subtasks so discussed in previous steps. This is after all the procurement process is performed and resources are available. We finally assign resources that include manpower just before execution. We also need to notify the client authorized engineer who administers the contract. This is usually a project consultant. We raise a request for inspection, known as RFI, about the project day plan and resources that have been planned to commit and execute project subtasks. A master machinery calendar can be viewed displaying total machines with machine ID and number of hours engaged for each day. Machine-wise calendar showing assignments can also be seen with project ID, task and WBS element ID indicating number of hours planned for the day. HRM is fully integrated to operations. Total labor force employed can be seen month and day-wise in planned and executed hours with resource designation configuration. A selected person calendar can also be seen with assignments with project ID and WBS ID with number of hours planned and performed. It is time to have our subtasks executed as per the budget schedule plan and client notification. I have two tabs here, the first one being expenditure tab and the second is for progress recording. In expenditure tab we need to key in the machinery and manpower logs, enter materials consumed and subcontract quantities performed. This is performed against a selected subtask on a current date. We also need to have production recorded in progress tab of the project subtask for which the expenditure is being incurred. We can enter exact dimension of the subtask in values or in percentage to tell what has been achieved. Assume that the client accepts the work so executed. Client may close the RFI note to qualify the work. At this point of time we push the subtasks to a locked state to avoid any further entries. Let us also have a look at the visual project progress with expenditure and financial progress reports such as budgeted cost of work scheduled, budgeted cost of work performed and actual cost of work performed. System-generated transactions at its ultimate automation. Firstly, every update in expenditure tab, the system pulls stock from inventory and pushes to work in process. Similar adjustments are also made to services and machinery resources. Manpower costs, machinery depreciation are pushed similarly. Secondly, when client accepts the work so executed, system fires another adjustment transaction, moving assets from work in process to finished goods. These transactions could be seen in operations and accounts modules. The qualified work is always available for billing based on the billing cycles. When it is decided to invoice the client, simply select a date and generate a bill. This will trigger all unbilled BOQ items pushed to a running account bill. It may not be necessary that the bill so submitted in the previous step get certified by the client-appointed consultant. It may again need reconciliation to finally get certified. As the certification is done followed by reconciliation, system triggers a project journal as receivables to the contractor firm from the client. Under this step the finished goods asset moved to cost of goods sold as costs under project expenditure. At the same time a second journal fires, the revenue from the client as per contract BOQ is due and credited to the revenue account and the client is debited as payables. System solution contains 13 engineering management modules. 3 of them are being design modules, 3D rebar, roads and slope analysis. 8 of them are being BIM modules for quantity estimation such as buildings, terrain modeling, cut fill, pipe culverts, slab culverts, box culverts, bridges and form work. For cost estimation we have an inbuilt AEC budget, using enterprise resources and costs to get real-time project estimate. Sitting on top of all these engineering modules, we have the visual scheduler for project sequencing. The solution also contains 11 construction and enterprise management modules, such as 1. Accounts management for finance and project accounting. 2. Bid management for tendering and business development. 3. Corporate management, for corporate level assets and policy matters. 4. Documentation management, for drafting and controlling contractual and other enterprise documents. 5. Equipment management, for plant and machinery purchase, hiring, maintenance and repairs, project deployment and accountability. 6. Human resources management, from recruitment to terminal benefits including project deployment and accountability. 7. Material management, inventory stocks, conversions, transfers, vendor billing and invoicing issues and project consumption. 8. Network management, for administering user access controls, roles definitions, solution system level configurations. 9. Operations management, being the central core business module, integrating previously stated engineering management modules. Business functions here demand to generate production and revenues. 10. Procurement management, for buying and vendor management catering several department needs. 11. Quality management, for performing day-to-day quality control test on raw materials and finished products including HSE matters. The solution also interacts with AEC engineering and third-party applications such as AutoCAD, STAAD.Pro, MS Excel, MS Project and Primavera wherever required. Thank you for watching the video.